Thank you for joining us tonight, one of our last meetings in this building as a result of unfortunate circumstances due to internet network hardware, as well as the fact that we no longer have spare parts in this building. We are unable to broadcast our meeting live tonight. We are recording it, and also as a result, board members, we will be doing a voice vote for a voice roll call for every item that we vote on tonight. Otherwise, you will notice no difference in the meeting. We'll still have public comment and board member discussion as we normally do. We'll just be operating on paper invoices just like our forefathers. That said, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Latchley.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Lanchelay. I would now accept the motion on item 2.1 under litigation. Mr. Lanchelay?
Mr. President, the board, I move that the board move into executive session to discuss pending litigation entitled Brenda Joseph et al. Versus Lafayette Parish School Board et al. Docket number C-2020-5464D, 15th Judicial District Court, Parish of Lafayette, State of Louisiana, and take any action warranted upon its return to open session.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Lanchelay, seconded by Ms. Morrison. Is there any public comment on this motion? Any board member comment? Ms. Dorothy, please call the roll.
District 3?
Please speak into your microphone as well when you vote by voice.
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 2? That's right, I'm sorry. District 1?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
8-4, none against.
Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion that we return to regular session.
We have a motion by Ms. Mason, seconded by Mr. Broussard, that we return to regular session. Is there any public comment on this motion? Any board member comment? Ms. Dorothy, please call the roll.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 1,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 9,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
8-4, none against.
Motion carries. Mr. Lutchley?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that the board accept the advice of counsel.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Lanchley, a second by Dr. Chasson, that the board accept the advice of counsel. Any public comment on this motion? Any board member comment? Ms. Dorothy, please call the roll.
District 8,
Yes.
District 1,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 9,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
8-4, none against.
Motion carries. On to information items. Item 3.1, the announcement of the calling of an election to authorize the issuance of general obligation bonds in Southside School District of the Parish of Lafayette, State of Louisiana. Dr. Aguilar.
Notice is hereby given that at its meeting to be held on Wednesday, August 9, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. at its regular meeting place, the boardroom of the Administrative Building, 113 Chaplin Drive, Lafayette, Louisiana, the Parish School Board of the Parish of Lafayette, State of Louisiana, plans to consider adopting a resolution ordering and calling an election to be held in Southside School District of the Parish of Lafayette, State of Louisiana, to authorize the issuance of general obligation bonds.
Is there any public comment on this item?
Special meeting.
Regular meeting. You just said 113 Chaplin Drive. We're locked into one more month here?
Yeah. September will move.
That's right. Any public comment on this item? Any board member comment? Item 3.2, a trip to Washington, D.C. with students from Lafayette Parish. Mr. Broussard.
Thank you, Mr. Sunshine. A couple of meetings ago, we had the pleasure of listening to Bishop Carlos Harmon, who was planning a trip with 100-plus students out of the city and the parish of Lafayette to view the White House or the Washington, D.C. area and all the history that goes with it. Something that is going to be welcomed by many kids who never got a chance to do that, let alone leave the city and the parish of Lafayette, to leave the state and to visit something so historic is historic. So he asked to return and give us an update on where he's at, where they're at, when they're leaving, and what has they accomplished, and we give him the opportunity to do so.
Good evening, board members, and Mr. Broussard, thank you for this opportunity to bring you this update on how well things have progressed on our trip to Washington, D.C. We are calling this trip the I Have a Dream experience, and I've been honored to partner with 3 other nonprofit organizations here in the Lafayette area who are teaming up with LCG to make this a possibility, and we're glad to have this opportunity to address Lafayette Parish School System. We've partnered with New Beginnings Education Foundation, a New Vision Leadership Foundation of Acadiana, and Maison Creole de Freetown, African American History Museum. So Erica Williams, Erica Fox, myself are the main planners for this event. We're looking to take 60 high school students, 60 adult chaperones, to Washington, D.C. for the 60th anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, a historic event that's taking place. It will take place August the 24th through the 29th next month. And as Mr. Broussard mentioned, some of the stops that we plan to go are to the White House, which that visit has already been secured. We're meeting with the mayor of Washington, D.C. We'll be going to the U.S. Capitol building, Howard University, the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture, the Frederick Douglass House, and the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. Those are the major sites that we'll be visiting. The students and their chaperones have formed what we call the Dream Team. That's what this group is called. And we're here to, at the last meeting, there was an offer made by one of our board members to support this effort. We want to invite Lafayette Parish School System to be part of this Dream Team. And becoming, right now, we're 120 members strong, and we're open to, and any businesses or folks here are welcome to support this effort as well. The cost per person is $800 a person, and we've asked each student and each chaperone to pay half of that. They've put their $400. So to date, we have about 100 people that have paid their portion, and over the next 2 weeks, we're looking at collecting from the other 20 people. Let's see here. Also, we are proud to be partnering with the United Way of Acadiana. I want to thank Heather Blanchard and her team. They have just been tremendous in receiving all of the payments. They're managing all of the donations, and we're working with them to make the disbursements to the airlines, which has already happened, and to the hotel. So we're proud that United Way is a partner with helping make this happen. So I want to thank Mr. Broussard for handing out this information flyer. There's a link and a QR code on the flyer. If you would like to make a donation and sponsor a student, we're asking individual sponsors to match with $400. And there's other levels of sponsorship if you want to go beyond that. But thank you for this time to address you. And if you have any questions, yes, Ms. Morrison.
I'll sponsor $400 to a
Thank-
student.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I will as well. Do we make it out to United Way? What would be the best way to provide that?
It's online, so
Okay.
you can do it on your laptop or you can do it on your phone. It'll
Okay.
bring you directly to the United Way website, and
Okay.
it's all digital.
Wonderful.
It's-
Thank you so
mhm.
much.
Absolutely.
You'll have to wait till you leave this building to do that.
No Wi-Fi.
Thank you, Bishop Harmon.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, I couldn't resist, Ms. LeBou. All right, item 3.3, Employee Services, Introduction of New Administrative Employees. Mr. Mouton.
Good evening. To Ms. Trosclair, the board, I have the pleasure of introducing one new administrator this evening. I have the pleasure of introducing Ms. Catherine Cassidy, who is the new director of schools. She's the director of high schools. Ms. Cassidy has 24 years of experience in the field of education. She holds a bachelor's degree in health and physical education with a minor in English from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, and a master's degree in curriculum and instruction from UL Lafayette with an add-on certification in administration from the University of Louisiana at Monroe. She has taught health and PE and coached girls basketball at Iota High School, and she has served as the head of the PE department, the head basketball coach for girls, and an assistant principal at Acadiana High School. And she is the founding principal of Southside High School. Ms. Cassidy looks forward to building relationships that nurture trust and confidence among high school principals and growing a community of leaders that appreciates and cultivates a feedback culture among their peers and staff. Ms. Catherine Cassidy, Director of Schools.
Before for the record, my bachelor's was from University of Southwestern Louisiana, so I'm a graduate from USL, just to date me a little bit. Thank you all for the opportunity. I am completely gracious to Superintendent Trosclair and your mentorship and the ability to just put me in this position today. I cannot express enough how thankful and appreciative I am to those mentors and colleagues that I had with me and along my journey who have put me in a position to be here as an educator today. 23 of my 25 years were in Lafayette Parish school system. So practically my entire career has been bred here within Lafayette Parish school systems. Like Mr. Mouton said, you know, 12 of my years were as a teacher and a coach at Acadiana High and 4 in administration, and then the other part was at Southside High School. I am astounded at the growth and the work that this district has done, especially in the last several years, moving our school district and our students forward by leaps and bounds. I am pleased to say that I'm a part of this community and that I'm a part of that growth, and to be able to move in this position and work from a different angle is going to be, I told somebody the other day I had to put my training wheels back on because I'm learning, you know, lots of new terminology and angles from the educational point of view that I was not yet privy to be a part of in my other roles. So I'm thankful for those people around me who have put their trust in me. And I assure you, to you guys, administration, and my peers and my mentors before me and the board members, I will not do you wrong. You'll be proud of the job that I do in this role. And first and foremost, I am pleased to build relationships with people across the district in all facets. So I'm very thankful for this opportunity. And thank you, Ms. Trosclair.
Thank you, Ms. Cassidy. Best of luck in the new job. Thank you, Mr. Mouton. So on to our consent agenda. Board members, I will read it will work the same way as usual. I'll read each item. Please let me know if you would like it pulled for separate consideration. Item number 4.1, discussion and or action concerning revisions to the 2023-2024 district calendar.
I'll pull a 4.1.
Item 4.2, discussion and or action concerning the proposed 2023-2024 student parent handbook.
I'll pull 4.2, please.
Item 4.3, discussion and or action concerning ratifying adoption of reapportionment plan A, resolution 09-22-2040. 4.4, discussion and or action concerning the selection of an interim superintendent of
Pull it.
schools.
I'll pull that. Oh, you got it.
Dr. Chasson, was that you or was that him?
Dr. Chasson.
Okay. Item 4.5, discussion and or action concerning the selection of a superintendent of schools recruitment process.
Pull it.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I don't see a recommended action for that.
There is no recommended action.
Okay. Do we want to pull it?
Yes.
Yeah, let's pull it. Go pull it, please.
Item 4.6, discussion and or action concerning a proposed plan of reorganization of payroll staff and changes in job descriptions related thereto. Item 4.7, discussion and or action concerning revisions to job descriptions. Item 4.8, discussion and or action concerning the school counselor intern job description. Item 4.9, discussion and or action concerning budget revision to capital improvement fund. Item 4.10, discussion and or action concerning approval of increases to HVAC maintenance contracts. Item 4.11, discussion and or action concerning budget revision to capital improvement fund to add a project. Item 4.12, discussion and or action concerning the Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire for fiscal year 2023. Item 4.13, discussion and or action concerning the June budget to actual and budget revisions for fiscal year 23. Item 4.14, new construction, discussion and or action concerning approval of act of dedication of servitudes for the Prairie Elementary Replacement School. Item 4.15, discussion and or action concerning policy IHAD parent conferences. Item 4.16, discussion and or action concerning policy JDB detention. Item 4.17, discussion and/or action concerning revisions to policy JDE expulsion as attached in the public content section of this agenda. Item 4.18, discussion and/or action concerning the renaming of the vacant Prairie Elementary located at 2910 Ambassador Caffrey Parkway. 4.19, discussion and/or action concerning the minutes of May 31st, 2023 and June 7th, 2023. At this point, I would entertain a motion to approve all items.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve all items not pulled.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Latchley, seconded by Ms. Mason, that the board approve all items not pulled. For the record, those are items 4.1, 4.2, 4.4, and 4.5. So any public comment on any other agenda item besides those four? Any board member comment? Ms. Morrison.
Yes, on item 4.3, I just wanted to make a point in stating that we are voting on the precincts that we had to change to align with Lafayette Consolidated Government. So we're not voting on something we already voted on. I just wanted the public to know that. It's concerning the precincts. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morrison. Ms. LeBeau?
Or just a clarification, I think it was District 1 of the, right, the city council had been revised, and so we had to change a precinct number to match with them. But other than that, nothing, I believe, was changed.
Okay.
That's absolutely correct. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Any other board member comment? Ms. Dorothy, please call the roll.
District 3,
Yes.
District 9,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 1,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
8-4, none against.
Motion carries. First item pulled was item 4.1, discussion and/or action concerning revisions to the 2023-2024 district calendar. Ms. Morrison?
Yes, Mr. President, I make a motion that the board approves the resolution of 2023-2024 district calendar as attached to the public content section of this agenda.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Morrison, seconded by Ms. LeBeau, that the board approves the revisions to the 2023-2024 district calendar as attached to the public content section of this agenda. Is there any public comment on this motion? Is there any board member comment?
Yes, Ms. Centenni, I just wanted Ms. Gardner, Mr. Dr. Rabelais to comment on this item since parents had questions about the calendar and why we changed the calendar and the reason why it's that way. Would you please?
Hello all, good evening. Yeah, so I'll speak to it even though it's Ms. Gardner's item. As you all know, we adopt the board calendar 2 years in advance. However, in early June, we found out from the state that they now require a mandated K-3 literacy screener and assessment. And they also gave the dates in early June to only be that April 1st through 19th window. So that happened to coincide with our already declared Easter break. Therefore, we lost 4 testing days, and it's a heavy lift for schools to test that 9,000 kids, kindergarten through 3rd grade. So we did reach out to the state multiple times in June also to see if we could request flexibilities or extensions on those windows, and at that time they still could not guarantee that. So that's why we made the request.
Thank you, Dr. Rabelais. It's good to know for parents to know the why, because they don't realize why we make the decisions that we do. It's not our decisions, it's what we have to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morrison. Ms. Mason?
I wanted to echo the same sentiment. I did get many questions, emails and calls about the change in the calendar. I like Dr. Rabelais' explanation of why we have to change it. So I just want to be clear for everyone listening. We're losing 4 testing days if we don't move the Easter break. Okay. I also had comments from some private school parents saying that their schools weren't changing theirs, are they subject to the same testing? I don't think so.
No, ma'am. Private schools are not subjected to follow the statute that they do. They
Okay.
do separate testing.
Just wanna make it crystal
certain
clear.
windows there. Yes.
So, okay, thank you.
Well, I don't like his answer, but, you know, unfortunately, the state tells us what to do sometimes. If there are no other comments, Ms. Dorothy, please call the roll.
District 9,
Yes.
District 1,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
8-4, none against.
Motion carries. Next item is item 4.2, discussion and/or action concerning the proposed 2023-2024 Student Parent Handbook. Ms. Morrison.
Yes, Mrs. Santani, I move that the board approves the approval portion of the 23-24 Student Parent Handbook as attached in the public content section of this agenda item.
Second.
This is for discussion, that's all.
We have a motion by Ms. Morrison, seconded by Ms. LeBeau, that the board approves the proposed portions of the 2023-2024 Student Parent Handbook as attached in the public content section of this agenda item. Is there any public comment on this motion? Is there any board member comment? Ms. Morrison.
Yes, Mrs. Santani, several parents called again asking questions about the changes in the handbook, and I would like Ms. Gardner or Dr. Robert Lee their question was about, they thought that 3 and 4 was the same, and which I spoke to you all, that it's concerning parents and teachers versus students. That's why it's different. But if you want to elaborate that a little bit more so that they could understand why. Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Morrison, thank you. We had a public meeting that was published, as we do yearly, for the Discipline Committee, and we met on July 12th at Central Office, the new district office, at 9 a.m., where we had parents, teachers, and staff members that all met the criteria and came to the discussion to review the discipline matrix behavior consequence chart. Through that discussion, it was pointed out that we do have a code, and what Ms. Morrison is referring to is our code 4 that says uses profane or obscene language. It was denoted that it was the same consequence where you're being a child to another child versus a student to student versus a student to an adult or staff member. And it was all on a level 2. So we decided to go ahead and split that. They are both a code 4. So when you go into the system, it is a code 4, but it is the description and your consequence is different. So your description of uses profane or obscene language to another or versus an adult. So if it's children on a playground that is using inappropriate language, your consequence could be a before or after school detention. Whereas in a level 4, when a student is blatantly being disrespectful with obscene language to an adult or a staff member, the consequence would be at a different level.
Thank you. And again, it's for the parents and that don't understand the whys. I think it's important that we just discuss it for informational reasons. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morrison. Ms. LeBeau.
I had some questions about the bus, breaking out the bus discipline portion. I just want to say that I'm all in favor of it because I know several bus drivers that have complained about starting that discipline process and then it getting lost in the school system process and not being followed through properly. So, Ms. Gardner, would you speak on that a little bit, just of how we broke that out and why?
Yes, ma'am. So on our discipline committee, we do have a bus driver that has consistently served over the years in our committee. So it's been very nice to have someone who volunteers who is a current bus driver for us. In our old consequence chart where we addressed school bus discipline, when you enter a bus discipline for the state, when it is a bus discipline, you enter it differently. You actually click bus versus a school discipline on a state report. There's a state bus discipline report. So because it was still on the same matrix and the consequences were there, it didn't stand out and have a singular. The bus drivers felt that that was being wrapped up into the school. So we met with transportation, we met with teachers, we met with staff, and we just decided that it would be in the best interest to propose pulling the bus discipline guidelines completely separate. In our handbook, while we addressed the discipline, we didn't always address the expectations. That was a separate page that went home to the parents. So in order to support our ridership in our district, we have about 31,000 to 32,000 children, and we have a ridership of about 18,000. To support our bus drivers, we put in our expectations, our responsibilities, and then the consequences. So it'd be very easy to see where we stand.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your work on this. I know 18,000 children, that's a huge responsibility, and our bus drivers are vital to our system. So I appreciate all the work that goes into making sure that they feel like we're getting them the respect and meeting their needs where they are. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. LeBeau. Any other board member comment? Ms. Dorothy, please call the roll.
District 3,
Yes.
District 9,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 1,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 8.
Yes.
8 for, none against.
Motion carries. The next item is item 4.4, discussion and/or action concerning the selection of an interim superintendent of schools. Dr. Chasson.
I'll defer to my handsome colleague from District 5.
Thank you, sir. You know, it's because we look like brothers with
That's
the ball
right.
hit. That's
That's
all right.
right.
Mr. President, I make a motion that the board appoints Mr. Francis Touchette as interim superintendent effective July 20th, 2023, with the same salary, benefits, and term as the outgoing superintendent.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Lachele, seconded by Dr. Chasson, that the board appoints Mr. Francis Touchette as interim superintendent with the same salary and benefits and term as the current superintendent. Any public comment on this item? Any board member comment on this item? Y'all have nothing to say?
Congratulations, Mr. Touchette.
Yeah. I just want to say it's a hard night for us because we're obviously saying goodbye to a phenomenal superintendent. But over the years, we've had the pleasure of seeing her and Mr. Touchette work together, see his wonderful capabilities for our school system, and just excited to welcome him into the new role, as well as thank you for all your work in helping us get the administration where it needs to be, and helping us find that leadership and make this a transition that we can all be secure and proud of, and know our system is in good hands.
Thank you, Ms. LeBeau. And I want to congratulate Mr. Touchette. He and I have worked together long before we came to Lafayette, and we both have the same heart for children and for educators and for schools. I know that it will be a smooth transition because we've worked, all of us, this entire staff, so closely together. The district is definitely in good hands. Mr. Touchette, congratulations. You've earned this. You've earned these keys. And now you can lose my number, Mr. Touchette.
Y'all got anything to say? I'm gonna remind the audience and everyone in here that we have not voted yet.
No, we haven't voted.
Just gonna remind you. Miss Mason, do you have some comments?
Yes, I do. I just wanted to say, that I'm in favor of this suggestion, and you know, I'm really proud of the progress that Ms. Arma's team has made over the past 4 years. I love the ship that she's built, and, you know, it just goes to show, like, it's a very strong ship, and it's going to keep sailing when our scores come out. They can't come out soon enough. I cannot wait for the scores to come out so I can really, you know, highlight them for us. You know, it's a great feeling to know that we have not just Francis, you know, in line. We have a great team underneath in this entire LPSS system. And the future of Lafayette Parish is so bright, and I'm so proud to be sitting here and so confident about our next choice for interim superintendent.
Thank you, Ms. Mason. Ms. Morrison.
I had the pleasure of working with Ms. Irma during the most difficult times of a year, which is through COVID, when I served as president. And what a gift to be able to work with Ms. Irma during that time where no one knew how to get through it. And I have to say firsthand, you handled it like a champ. I learned from you that year, and you helped me serving as president during the most difficult times. And serving as president is something I always wanted to do, given the 9 years that I have served. But I asked God, why during COVID? So he puts us in the places he wants us to be at the certain times, and we don't understand, but it was one of the most rewarding years, and I think we've done a great job as a board making the decisions to keep our children safe, our students safe, our parents, our students, our teachers, the whole LPSS system. I mean, we did a great job. I really did. This board, with our superintendent and the administrative staff, I think you can't get any better than that. It's A++. You know, our scores is the best in LPSS history. Come on, give it up, give it up, give it up. And we've done a great job, and it's such a blessing. Thank you, Ms. Troxclair, for your leadership, your guidance, and everything you have done for us to move this school system forward. And congratulations, I'll tell you, congratulations to you as well. Thank you.
I do feel like I know how the vote's going to turn out. I'm just saying we haven't actually voted yet. That's all. That's all. Any other comments from the board? Dr. Chasson.
I just want to say Mr. Touchette has already learned to answer my phone calls at 6:30 in the morning, so I think that you've done an excellent job, and I'm very excited. I forgot that part.
Boss man, assuming that this goes through, congratulations, guys. And this is a testament to, this goes all the way back to Dr. Aguilar, and everybody needs to understand that, because without Dr. Aguilar having the wherewithal to hire Ms. Troxclair, then we wouldn't even be in this position that we're in now. When Ms. Troxclair got hired, Ms. Troxclair said one thing. She said, I need Francis Touchette, so we got to figure something out. That was her words. There wasn't even a position. We had to create a position for you, boss man. And that guy works so hard, everyone. He works so hard. There are kids that I love, near and dear to me, that are in college playing basketball, who would have never graduated had Francis not went directly to the school and not let them have an excuse. You're gonna do the work. And he stayed on them, and he made sure that kids graduated. And that man, if it's not a testament, sat in that office, and that office does not have a window. Boss man, I don't know how you did it, but congratulations to you, sir. I'm assuming this is gonna pass, and you have my vote.
Thank you, Dr. Chasson. Mr. Broussard.
Yes, we're giving all the accolades, and we Mr. Francis Touchette, I think I know how the vote is going to turn out, but I certainly appreciate your leadership over the years. You have done all what I've asked you to do, worked diligently to make sure that it happened, and I think they punish you because I think you're the largest man on the staff, with the smallest office, you know. So it's a testament to Irma Trustclass to grooming you to grow and giving you the smallest space. So kudos to her to making you angry to let you to stay out your office and do what needs to be done for the students. I think that was a good move, but congratulations, and I know the system is going to be in good hands because we've grown so much over the last, my 9 years, with the leadership we had, starting with Dr. Aguilar and continued with Irma Trustclass and Francis Touchette. And we appreciate the leadership that has been given to us. I certainly appreciate the board members over the last 9 years who have turned this LPSS school system around and made us one of the most leading educational systems. And we set the mold as far as a board working together. I know over the years we've looked for some sort of controversy to make the public aware that we still exist, but we have worked so hard together, and it's scary sometimes because when everybody's on the same mindset. But the same mindset is students, 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 and that's what we here for. Congratulations, and I hope after all of these, I hope it goes your way. All right?
I feel like it's going to be close. Any other board member comment? All right, Ms. Morrison.
I know that everyone in Vermilion Parish will be so excited. I'm from Vermilion Parish, and Francis is from Vermilion Parish, so congratulate you. I congratulate you.
Ms. Dorothy, please call the roll.
District 1,
Yes.
It's like a pop quiz, Miss Dorothy. I'm on edge when you're calling it. I don't know what order you're going in, Miss Dorothy. Go ahead, I'm ready.
District 3,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 9.
Yes.
8-4, none against.
Now you may applaud.
We got a pink parking tag for you too, boss man. We're gonna have it right out front.
Now, Mr. Touchette, I'll tell you congratulations.
I'd just like to say a few things. First, I want to thank the board on their vote of confidence. Our team is grateful for your vote, and I can tell you that we will continue as a team to always put students first. Again, thank you on behalf of our entire LPS family, that we will, I guarantee you, we will continue to lead in the same steps that we have been in. So thank you so much.
Congratulations once again, Mr. Touchette.
Hey, boss man, give everybody your title in Abbeville, because a lot of folks really don't know what your title is in Abbeville as well. You serve as the city councilman for Abbeville, mayor pro tem as well. Okay, a lot of folks don't know that.
Thank you, Dr. Chasson. Item number 4.5, discussion and or action concerning the selection of a superintendent of schools recruitment process. I'll introduce this item by saying that Mr. Angel and I added this item to the agenda specifically with no recommended action. So we thought it was important to have the board have the opportunity to discuss your thoughts about the other part of this job. We just appointed an interim superintendent, and I wanted to give you all the opportunity to discuss in public your thoughts and your opinions on how to proceed with a permanent superintendent search. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Hammonds just so he can review the legal requirements that we have to satisfy in order to search for a new superintendent. Mr. Hammonds.
Yes, the requirements for search of a superintendent are not very extensive. But let me begin first by saying, with regard to the position of interim superintendent, because Mr. Touchette was appointed during an election year for the board, the interim superintendent has no limitation on the duration of the term that he or she can serve. And that's a difference. The law provides that an interim can only serve 6 months unless the appointment is made during an election year of a board. And of course, as you know, most of the boards in Louisiana ran last year, but you're on a little different cycle, and because of that, the interim appointment can be made for whatever duration of time you want. So having said that, let me move on to the process. The process is not very complicated, as I indicated. You're required to advertise 2 times in your official journal, a week apart. You are required to not to fill the position for at least 30 days after the date of the last advertisement. And you're required to have a written contract with the superintendent-elect. That's it. Beyond that, the way you conduct your search is left solely to the board. And as fate would have it, I have been involved in 10 searches this year already. So the superintendents are turning over at a pretty rapid rate these days. And I'm happy to work with the staff to facilitate the process as you move forward. The first step in that process, though, really is for the board, as you talk about this, to decide whether you want to conduct the search with the support of the staff, the help of the staff, or whether you would prefer to use a professional search firm to do so. And if you want to use an outside search firm to do so, then I would suggest that you vet 3 or 4 such firms and decide which one you would prefer. I can tell you from having conducted probably 200 superintendent searches that I have found statistically that boards, for whatever reason, have a better success rate doing the search themselves than they do with the search firms. And I don't say that to belittle the professional search firms. They do a good job. It's been my experience, however, that they oftentimes bring in outsiders, people from outside the state, sometimes people who have been in other positions and failed, and they recirculate them into new positions in the state of Louisiana, and they proved equally ineffective here. So again, I think that your staff, perhaps with a little help from its legal counsel, would be quite capable of handling this search should you choose to go that direction. But that's the first call that you have to make, the first thing you need to talk about. Then once you make that decision, if you choose to do it yourself, then I would have some thoughts and suggestions and recommendations as to how you can get that accomplished. Many of these were the same things that were done when Superintendent Trosclair was hired, and so you can really replicate some of that process should you choose to do that. And I'm happy to answer any questions that any board member might have about the process. I can tell you that ordinarily, if you have to advertise 2 times a week apart, that's going to be a minimum of about 10 days, and then you got to wait at least 30 days thereafter. So the minimum period is going to be 45 days. And quite honestly, most searches take somewhere between 60 to 75 days, depending on whether you want interviews, and if so, how many rounds of interviews you might want to conduct. You're not required to have any rounds of interviews, and I have had a couple of school boards who reviewed the applications and have hired a superintendent without conducting the first interview. I have had other boards that have conducted 3 rounds of interviews. And the only other requirement by law is that when you go to make your decision, it has to be made by majority vote of the total membership of the board, not those present voting, total membership of the board. So that means in a board of 9, you have to have 5 votes to hire the new superintendent. And so whenever you do come to vote, again, you have to have 5. And I say that because, as you know, there have been other parishes in this area that have had difficulty. It's no big secret that in Allen Parish, they voted for 4 months in a row to try to break a 4-4 tie. But they had an 8-member board. And that tie was recently broken, as I understand, and they have now selected their new superintendent. But on your board, it will take 5 votes, even if you only have 5 board members at the meeting to cast those votes. So you have to have 5. That's the only other legal requirement that you have. When you get around to the contract, I can give you more information about the contract and what it must include, but that's somewhere down the road.
As an additional comment on what Mr. Hammond said, in 2019, or 2020 rather, we did establish a post office box that the president and vice president had the keys for, in order to take our staff out of the application collection process. Although we did, I was the president in 2019 when we did it for the interim search, and I think Mr. Latchley, if Ms. Gardner reminded me that you were on the front page of the paper opening the post office box in 2020 and pulling the applications out. We did bring them straight here and turn them over to our legal counsel at that point. So, you know, I think we've also established, you know, application deadlines and things like that. So just as a little guide for for our discussion tonight, I wanted to say that. So do we have any board members who'd like to comment? Ms. LeBou.
Is this a timeline process that we all have to vote on, or can the president establish the deadlines for application, advertising, all those things? What do we have to do as a board, I guess, from this point forward? Do we have to vote on all of that? Once we approve, let's say, the initiation of a selection?
Well, Ms. LeBou, let me answer it this way. You have a lot of flexibility to go any way you choose to go. The searches that I've done this year, I have asked the board to go on record as saying, how long do you want the application period to be open? You know, which is a decision that somebody has to make. You know, Mr. Santani mentioned the P.O. box process of delivering applications. That's one that I started a number of years ago, worked very effectively. I strongly support that. But there are some basic decisions. If we use the same processes that we used 4 years ago, then that's going to answer some of the questions. I have to go back and look at that process to see how long the application period was. Some boards have kept it open as long as 90 days, and some as short as 15. Again, there's nothing in the law that requires any duration for the application period. That's up to the board to decide. But there are some fundamental decisions. If you just track what you did in 2020, we'd have to go back and look to see exactly what that was, and we could probably come pretty close to replicating that. If you want to have, for example, a longer period for applications to be submitted, then that's certainly within the authority of the board to do.
As luck would have it, Mr. Hammonds, I have the motions that were made in 2019 in front of me. As I was researching what we did back then, there were actually 10 motions.
Yes.
That we all voted on, and I'll just read a small sample just to give you an idea. So there was a motion, and the board voted and approved that the term of the contract for the interim superintendent be May 18th, 2019 through June 30th, 2020. Right? So that was just one thing that we wanted to advertise as, if you're going to apply to be our interim superintendent, here's what you can expect. One motion establishing a post office box at the downtown post office. Resumes and cover letters be postmarked dated by March 20th and be collected by the board president and vice president by April 1st. That the interim superintendent be state certified to serve as superintendent of schools in the state of Louisiana, since there is no actual interim superintendent certification. And that's just an example of anything beyond what is in the revised statute. I think we would have to vote on as a board. Mr. Latchley.
Mr. Santani, actually I have two things. Having gone through this on more than one occasion, I believe both times were pretty smooth with the cooperation of the board. I would ask that I be able to make a motion, if the board is receptive to it tonight, that I would move that we authorize the staff, under advice of counsel, to start the superintendent search process using the same procedure utilized in the last search. That would be my motion, Mr. President.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Mr. Latchley, seconded by Dr. Chasson, that the board authorize staff, under advice of counsel, to start the superintendent search utilizing the same process as the last superintendent search. Is there any public comment on this item? Is there any board member comment?
Ms. Santani.
Yes, sir.
To kind of give the public a little input, I think the way we did it for Dr. Aguilar and Ms. Trosclair was a good process. It worked very well. Didn't have many applicants in either one. I was pleased with it, and I think it's pretty streamlined. It's pretty easy to understand, and it's pretty easy to move forward with. And that's why I made the motion. I think it would be the best way to go moving forward with this. This board could actually place a permanent superintendent in place within probably 2 months.
45 days is the minimum, what I heard earlier.
45 days, so probably somewhere around the October range. And we could actually have that superintendent be given a contract 2 years into the next board if we see fit. And I think that would help provide stability and keep us in the direction that we're going. We're right at the beginning of the start of a school year, and the last thing we want is any disruption. And I know Mr. Touchette is going to do a good job as interim, but I think we can go ahead and move forward and look for that permanent superintendent so we have just a little bit more stability. Thank you, Mr. President.
Ms. Mason.
I'd like to agree with Britt, and also just say I think it was a good process the last 2 times we've looked, and we've had a really good track record of success with Dr. Aguilar and then Ms. Strasclair, and I think using the same process would be excellent.
Ms. Morrison.
The only concern I have is that we're in election year, and we're going to be voting on new board members, and my thoughts are maybe having the new board go through a selection process, even have an opportunity for community input, because they're the ones that will be working with the new superintendent. So that's something that that I think about, that I think that I would like to give the new board the opportunity as well, since they will be coming in, early thereafter. So that's my concerns. So just wanted to put that out there, something to think about.
Thank you, Ms. Morrison. Ms. LeBeau?
I think I have a little bit of an opposing view on that, or just from my perspective, coming in with an interim. When you're a new board member, you know nothing. In February starts the budget process. We were very grateful to vote you in March 15th, and then March 13th, and schools closed down March 15th with COVID. Yes.
It was the 13th.
So
it was March 13th.
While I agree that it is great to allow a new board to vet the superintendent, I think we all at this stage know kind of the needs of the school system. We understand what we should be looking for based on the last 4 years. Again, I think a new board member coming in, it's such an overwhelming process to learn everything. There are still departments I still don't understand exactly what they do, and when the call centers come out for the budget, you really have to delve in and try to figure out what they do. I think it's wonderful to have somebody that's experienced at the helm, leading, that will be there for their contract period, to be able to kind of guide everybody through that new process, and knowing that we possibly will have 5+ new board members. I just feel like it would be a really great thing for our board to at least really try to initiate that process and see the interest in applications and all of those things, knowing that even if we go through the process and there aren't applications, then we're aware of that as well. So I'm in favor of initiating the process as an existing board, but I'll defer to everybody else's comments on that.
That's okay. I just want to give the community an opportunity to have an input in that process, and I'm thinking that if we kind of prolong it, that can happen. Have a forum, ask questions, and that's just my take on it.
Thank you, Ms. LeBeau.
Mr. Centeni, can we build that process into our existing timeline?
What's that?
Like you're saying, a community.
We can.
Community comments, community forums, so that they have an opportunity to listen to the applicants, ask questions to the applicants, and everybody that's running, they could see who the applicants are and have an opportunity to listen to them, ask them questions. So then that would be a better transition for for the new board members that's coming in to have some insight. But if we don't take that time to do that, then they don't have that opportunity, and then they really come in blind. But there's an opportunity for them to, if we prolong it a little bit.
I would hope that anyone who's thinking about being on this school board is already at our meetings and very aware of what's going on.
Well, they should be,
Well,
but
let's
they're
hold on,
not.
Mr. Broussard. Mr. Broussard's turn to comment. Mr.
Yes,
Broussard.
I agree with Mr. Lodgley that we start the process as soon as we possibly can to complete the process. It would not be in our favor to put this on the new board members that coming in. Like Mr. Blue said, we probably got 5+ board members that's coming in, and I don't think we should put the burden on them with, for some reason, we got a new superintendent with 5+ new board members, so no one knowing anyone. But if we can get a permanent superintendent in now to start the process, to familiarize themselves with what's going on, if it's not someone that we're familiar with, that it would ease the burden on the new board members not to get acquainted, because it takes quite some years to familiarize yourself with the process. And for a new superintendent, someone other than someone who is involved with the system now, 5+ new board members, to off track what we have done over the last 8, 9, 10 years is going to be detrimental to the community. So I would agree with setting the process now, getting a permanent superintendent in before the end of 2023 to make sure that the transition is made smoothly with the LPS administration, the board, exiting board and interim board, and all who is involved with it.
Thank you, Mr. Broussard. Any other comments?
Well, I think I like what Ms. LeBou said, for us to build that into the process, community forums, if we
Thank you.
can do that.
Thank you, Ms. Morrison. Dr. Chasel?
I won't put it on the new board. I'm making that decision. I tell you ahead of time, I'm making that decision. The process is the right process that we need to take. Mr. Hammond's quick question. We can give up to a 4-year contract. I was under the impression that we can do two. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chasel. Any other board member comment? Ms. LeBou?
Mr. Hammonds, will we be billed at the associate rate for this, or the, just checking?
You lawyers and your hours.
And the forum's already started because I got messages coming in now.
You see how
The
important
forum is
that
20
is?
The
to have
forum is
community
24 hours a
input.
day, Dr. Chasel. Is there any other board member comment on this item? We do have a motion. Ms. Dorothy, I don't have a screen with it up, so I believe it said that the board authorized staff on advice of council to begin the superintendent's search. I was pretty close. Process using the same procedure utilized in the last search is the motion that's on the floor. Seeing no other comments, Ms. Dorothy, please call the roll.
Do we have to add to include community forums? Is that,
There would need to be a substitute motion.
Okay.
There was no substitute motion.
Okay,
That's
I
the motion
liked-
that's on the floor.
I'd like to make a substitute motion that we include community forums and community input within the process.
Actually, Mr. President, Acting President, that would be a motion to amend.
Motion to amend.
That would be a motion. It's not a substitute motion because it's not directly contradictory to the original motion.
Fair enough.
So you need to make a vote. If she gets a second, there would be a vote on the motion to amend, and then you would go back and vote on the original motion if amended.
Please repeat your motion, Ms. Morrison.
Yes, the amendment is to include community forums and community input within the process that we have been doing for the past 2 superintendents. No, he said it's not. I don't know. Mr. Hamill, was that already in the
Hold on,
motion?
we've got to,
Oh.
you made your motion, we're waiting to see. I'm giving people time to consider seconding it.
I think that question.
I'll second it for the point of discussion. Do we need to do public comment before?
Now
have
we
to
do public
second.
comment on the amendment. Let's remember our parliamentary procedure.
Julia Reed, President, Lafayette Parish Association of Educators. I would urge you to vote to include community engagement in this. The superintendent has near, what's the word, omnipotent. I always get that omniscient. They are near omnipotent in running the school system, and so it's very important to have community. And I hope when you say community, you also include your one of your stakeholder groups, which is employees, educators, and ESPs in this process. So I urge you to make sure that you explicitly include community feedback in this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Is there any other public comment?
I'm not sure if we need to add, like teachers' input, LPSS
Well-
employees. Do we need to add that to the amendment? Or
I
that
think
community takes care
hold
of
on.
that?
I think we're making this a little too complicated. Like community input and forums is, I think, sufficient to cover all of the groups that Ms. Reed mentioned and you mentioned, Ms. LeBeau.
Just want to make sure.
I would just, I think Mr. Chasson was reminding me that there was a question submittal process and some community involvement last time. So I think it's already in there, but just so everybody knows when they're voting on the amended motion, it's potentially already in there, but this would just be another addition of language, I guess.
Yeah.
Hold on,
and-
Ms. Morrison. Asked to be recognized.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was there for both superintendents, and I don't remember a community forum like I'm amending to have. So, I know you came in after me, but yeah, I don't remember that type of
Is there
community
anyone who
input
can,
that I'm
sorry,
asking for.
Can I have a question?
Yeah, you have to wait your turn as well. So anyway, I just want to make sure that it's not quite the same what we've done.
Ms.
This is
Mason.
something different, okay?
Mr.
Community
Santini.
input, community forums includes everyone. We have that understood, and I would like to make an amendment for that. Do you still second? Thank you.
Wait, so did you just change your motion? It's the same. Okay. All
Is
right.
there-
Ms. Mason?
Is there anyone who can verify that we did this last time?
Verify that we did what?
That Miss Mary is
I was here for both, and I don't remember a
She said
community
she
input
doesn't
not like
remember if
that.
we
Not
had
like what I'm
community
talking about. I'm
input.
talking about a community forum. And I'm
I
not.
know we've had public comment.
Okay.
I mean,
So are you against this community
Hold on, Ms.
input or
Morrison.
forum?
Hold on, Ms. Morrison. Hold on. This is not back and forth. This is board member comment.
I'm just
Ms.
answering
Mason.
her question
I was
because
just
it's my
curious if
amendment.
we-
It's my amendment, and she's asking a
okay,
question.
But we'll vote.
Any other board member comment? Dr. Chasson.
Hey, we're getting bogged down in the, is it mud, water? In the weeds. We're in the weeds right now. There's always community involvement, guys. It's always been there. If Mr. Tuchet is lucky enough to become our superintendent, that'll be my 6th superintendent. We always have community involvement. There's always community involvement. The community will directly talk to you and you and you, and then there's the room is packed whenever they're interviewing and they submit questions. There's always community involvement. So let's not. Oh God, we're so far down the path right now. Let's back it up a step. We trust the process. If we want to include a community forum, we'll just tell them, and that community forum will occur 45 days from now, 40 days from now, and everybody will be happy to participate. We're not saying we do not want community involvement whatsoever. We want it 100%. So let's just slow down and let's vote, please, guys. So currently, there's an amendment but there's a request for a friendly amendment. But if she's making an amendment, we can't make the motion for the amendment and then second that motion because there is no actual motion passed to make an amendment to the motion.
No, you got to vote on
We
the
gotta vote
motion
on
to
the
amend
motion
first.
First, correct, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So the motion that is currently on the floor is the actual amendment to the main motion.
Okay.
So a vote yes here would be to include community forums and community input as stated by Ms. Morrison and seconded by Ms. LeBeau. Regardless of whether that passes or fails, we will then subsequently vote on the main motion to start the superintendent search as originally made by Mr. Lachele.
Can we just accept that as a friendly amendment and move on?
It is up to Mr. Lachele.
Can we accept that as a friendly amendment to include community forums?
We've always had community involvement.
Right.
I don't see what the purpose
Of specifically
I don't see what the
stating-
purpose of the amendment is. Because I'm going to vote no to this amendment to get back to the original, because the original always included that. It's not necessary.
All right.
So it was,
Ms. Morrison.
so if it was already included, what is the problem of just stating it? It would be no difference. I just want it for the record. What's the problem? It's the same.
Okay. All right, so we've got two positions. We've got a motion to amend on the floor. Ms. Dorothy, please call the roll. Oh, yeah, Mr. Broussard wanted controversy.
This is so simple.
We're beating a dead horse. We're going
Right.
back and forth with the same thing. We're trying
I
to put
agree.
something in that's already in there.
Fair enough. Let's let Ms. Dorothy call the roll.
Pop quiz.
I'm ready, Ms. Dorothy.
District 5,
No.
District 4,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 8,
That's you, Ms. Mason.
Yes.
District 9,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 1,
Yes.
District 7.
Y'all gotta
Yes.
stop. Y'all gotta stop.
I'm sorry. District 7,
Ms. LeBou, what is your vote?
I said yes, I'm sorry.
7-4, 1 against.
Motion carries. The main motion is now, we now return to the main motion, and it will be that the board authorize staff under the advice of council to proceed with the superintendent's search using the same process as used last time, with the clarification, but not necessarily addition, of community forums and community input.
Second.
Did that without a computer. All right. Is there any public comment on this vote? Any board member comment? Ms. Dorothy, please call the roll. You can say what you need to say.
No,
You
I was,
slipped.
I'm,
All
just, I'm in a joking mood.
All right, Ms. Dorothy, please call the roll.
District 4,
Yes. Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 1,
Yes.
District 9,
Yes.
District 8.
Yes.
8-4, none against.
Motion carries. That is the conclusion of our regular agenda. You may have noticed tonight that we did not open our meeting with our traditional comments from our superintendent, our now former superintendent. I will turn the floor over to her to let her say her piece, and I'll welcome anyone with a stopwatch to see how long it takes her to start crying.
I've been doing it all day.
Ms. Trosclair.
Thank you, Mr. Centani. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank so many people for being a partner in the work that we've done here in Lafayette Parish. 8 or 9 years ago, I was minding my business at South Crowley Elementary, and a tall, bald head, sort of freckle face, much slimmer person came in and talked a lot about Lafayette and the things that were going on here, good things that could be improved upon. Dr. Aguilar was just coming on board as well. And from that, Dr. Aguilar then gave me an opportunity to come here, and I've not regretted it at all. We've worked hard. We've made a lot of progress here. I've made a lot of friends in the work, and friends that I know will be friends for life. Mr. Centani may remember that when I had the opportunity to apply for the interim position, I waited until the last day and the last hour, just about, before I dropped off my resume. And that was because I had been doing a lot of reflecting. I had worked closely enough with a few superintendents to know that the work is very different. It's very important, but it's very different than what it is at the school level. And I enjoyed my work at school levels. I enjoyed my work with children, up close and personal with kids and with staff members. And during that period of reflection, trying to decide if I would apply or not, I talked to myself constantly about understanding the many outside pressures that could come for a number of reasons, that it may pull me away from what was important to me as an educator for all those years, which was keep kids and educators at the heart of every decision you make. And I just didn't know if that was possible in this role. I applied and made a promise to myself, and many days driving in reminded myself that today, do your best to keep kids and educators at the heart, because that business is not about any of us at all. The work is not about us. And if we're not careful, we think it's about us and we forget who it's about. And it's been difficult on many days to do that. But I'm proud and I feel good about the fact that we have done that. And when I say we, I'm talking about the board here, who've allowed us and helped us keep kids at the center of what we do. The staff, school leaders, some of you here in this room, school leaders and educators who are working miracles every day and are so underappreciated. You're underpaid and you're underappreciated. This district staff, their work goes quite often completely unnoticed. There are people working in the background in departments that most folks aren't even aware of, and they work hard. And it's been my honor and privilege to serve as superintendent. This was a very difficult decision because I have enjoyed this work. I have, and I thank you for the honor of serving as superintendent. Our community partnerships. We have folks who have created this entire organization, Love Our Schools, centered around the work here in Lafayette Parish Public School System. You have so many community people that have just wrapped their arms around us and never let go. I have full confidence that's going to continue because our community partners understand the importance of the work. Matt Stuller, Kip Schumacher, Nick Pugh, and everyone that works from other community organizations with that. These are folks who could ride off into the sunset and not at all worry about anything or be concerned or care about this school system. And we have so many people like that are supporting us. I have felt supported. I am proud of our work. We are in good hands. We have a tremendous team at the district. We have outstanding leaders and teachers in our schools, support staff. I think we've come together as a district, and I'm proud of that. And I feel that we're all pulling in the right direction. This is very bittersweet. I look forward to the new work that I will do, which will bring me closer to children and closer to teachers. I've told our principals, Dr. Downs, and all of those who are in the room know that I've said school leadership is the most important role, because without strong school leaders, teachers don't stay. Our teachers are important, but without a strong leader, they cannot be effective. So I look forward to returning home and do that work there. Dr. Aguilar did ask me to give him a call and let him know how that turns out, that if I'm able to rekindle the passion, and I'll do that, Doc. And to be closer to my family. You know, I have children that work in the school system in Eunice, and I have grandchildren now going through the school system. I see my community headed into a direction that many of us are concerned about. So I just want to go back and do a small part, whatever part I can do there. But I thank you so much. It's been a great honor and privilege. Thank you.
I'll say a quick thing. And I keep going back and forth on whether to tell my favorite funny story about Miss Trosclair or my favorite serious story about Miss Trosclair. I'm going to opt for what I hope is a humorous story. In the early days of the pandemic, and specifically July of 2020, when, we were really flying by the seat of our pants on making up school reopening plans, and was the board going to adopt this reopening plan, and what were the rules going to be, and literally just everyday rules changing. And Ms. Trosclair was charged with making a lot of decisions just on the fly, kind of gut reaction of how do we get schools open and get our children into school. As I told her 1,000 times, I said, under no circumstances am I going to be allowed to go home and tell my wife that her children are not going to school. So we need to get these schools open. And the context of this one question was, I'm gonna look at my friends over here in the front row and say, teachers wearing scrubs. And Miss Trosclair, who is decidedly old school, was insistent that our teachers continue to dress like professionals. But at the same time, we were going to be putting some onerous regulations on them that, they had to wash their clothes every day with hot water. This is in the very early days. We didn't necessarily know everything we know now. So the teachers thought, to my mind, they thought that wearing scrubs was a reasonable request. I thought it was a reasonable request, and I tried to convince Ms. Trosclair that it was a reasonable request. I was unsuccessful in convincing her there was a reasonable request. And so, like a dog with a bone, I tried again the next day, and I said, listen, Ms. Trosclair, I went in her office, I said, I'm going to write, I'm going to write something on 2 sticky notes, all right? It's going to be 2 different things. And these 2 sticky notes, I want you to remember that these 2 sticky notes are going to answer 95% of the questions you have about your job and how we're operating the school system over the next few months as we go through this unprecedented time. And I said the first one I wrote down, and I stuck it on her computer monitor, and it said, don't panic, there will be plenty of time for that later. Right? So there was just a million things flying at her every day, and just, drinking from a fire hose is literally drinking from a fire hose. And so just reminder to take a step back. And then the other one, and I think, guys, this is what I think won the argument on teacher scrubs. I think it did. It said, does this matter? ? And that's the one that I think really sums up Ms. Trosclair and her leadership style and her ability to cut through the noise of everything that goes on in an organization this size and focus on our teachers and focus on our students and focus on moving the needle for the children of Lafayette Parish. And for that, Ms. Trosclair, I'm truly grateful that you were our superintendent for the last 4 years. Thank you. Any other board members? I don't want to say anything and not turn it over, not give you an opportunity. All right, Ms. LeBou.
I will just say the Bobcats' gain is our loss. Although I think we're coming into very capable hands. But my neighbor, and I had a neighbor knock on my door crying. Her child had severe learning disabilities. It was causing issues at school. I called Irma. She was on the phone for an hour with that parent. She took the child to another school to show him the opportunities available, encourage him, and I just thank you for that. You always kept kids at the center, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. LeBou. Mr. Broussard.
Since you're no longer superintendent, we still friends, so I'm gonna call you Irma. No. right. It won't be something I haven't heard, I guarantee you. but I say that not out of disrespect, but respect. And I wish you the best, and I understand why you were leaving, and that's really good reason. But on your leadership with the Lafayette Parish School Board over the last 4 years has been impeccable. We have grown so much under your leadership, and you have left us in capable hands with Mr. Francis Touchette. We cannot be successful if our leader does not teach the people beneath them how to lead, and you have done that. And I appreciate what you have done throughout the years, and thank you for all that you've done. We've learned so much, and this board has learned so much and done so much over the years that it's mind-boggling to think about the success we've had under your leadership, and Dr. Aguilar as well. But he started it and you finished it, and I'm hoping Mr. Touchette is going to continue that path, and this board will, because we've got a strong foundation. And wish you the best of luck, but most important, I wish you the best of health.
Thank you, Mr. Broussard. Ms. Mason.
I just wanted to say thank you to Ms. Trosclair as well. And, you know, I often had to remind myself that I was her boss, and because she was such a great mentor to me and really helped me as a new school board member who jumped into a pandemic and had to make some of the most difficult decisions ever. And she really strengthened and encouraged me, and I think every week I had to remind myself I'm her boss. Her leadership style, you know, you wanted to follow her, and very jealous of Eunice getting you back. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mason. Mr. Lachele.
I'm gonna do you one better, Mr. Broussard. Irma Faye. Can I finally be forgiven for March 13th, 2020?
I'll consider it, Britt Russell.
In case you don't know, I'm standing in her office, and she's gonna become interim that night, at least in my mind. And I leaned on the window, and I said, we're gonna be all right. And 2 days later, March 15th, all hell broke loose. And she's not allowed me to go by that window again, and I can't utter the words, we'll be all right. We've always had our Monday morning between 4 and 6 a.m. conversations. Those aren't going to stop. We had our conversation. So I'm just going to look at you and tell you thank you.
Ms. Morrison.
One of the most memorable times, I had my granddaughters with me on the weekend, and I wanted them to come over to the boardroom and see kind of what we do. I was president at the time. And so Ms. Irma said, well, sure. And that day, actually, we were signing off on our new school board building. So we did that, and then we came over to the boardroom, and my granddaughters were able to sit in my chair as president and see the pictures on the wall, and I explained to them what Mom does. And she took her time out to do that for me, and I'll never forget that. She took pictures with my granddaughters, and she's such a wonderful person inside and out, remarkable person, and we're all so blessed to have Irma, who have had her as our superintendent and our leader. I wish you the best. You all know that I work at Crowley campus, so I'm not that far from you. So everyone there is very excited about you going there, because I was in Lake Charles at Leadership Excel, and there's lots of people from that area. But you're going to a great place. They're lucky to have you back. We were lucky to have you. And you're such a blessing to everyone you touch. And thank you for moving our school system forward. Thank you very much. And congratulations. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Ms. Morrison. Any other board members? Dr. Aguilar.
Irma, thank you for the work that you've done in Lafayette Parish. It's a special place, and I think you've learned exactly how special Lafayette is. The capacity of the employees, the community itself to support public education. You've done an excellent job. Best of luck to you, and best of luck to you and your family. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Aguilar. I don't think anyone has any other comments to make. And with that, Ms. Trosclair, Godspeed, and don't be a stranger. This meeting's adjourned.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah.
You already talked.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. The meeting's back in order.
No, it's okay.
Dr. Chasson has said, boy, it's better be good.
He has
That's
been
okay.
making notes over
I got
here.
notes.
Yeah.
Really quickly, I want to speed through it.
I swear you said something. I'm sorry.
No. I want to say thank you for allowing Marsha Broussard and myself to come and visit and to actually come back, because we went once and we came back, and I thought it was amazing what you were doing there. Like she's principal of a school, and they're a blue ribbon school. They have the same clientele as J.W. Falk and Alice Boucher. Like, what are you doing here? And she accepted us with open arms that day and encouraged us to come back. I want to say just some thank yous. Thank you to your family and your friends for all of the sacrifices of time that you inevitably made and you still make to get here, crack of dawn, leave 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, that you've spent helping make us an A school district, because I have complete faith that we will be an A school district come October. Thank you to Stephanie Reiners and Francis Tuchet and Mark Rabelais and Jennifer Gardner and Lisa Anderson, Tracy Hippolyte, Lakeisha Miller, Tracy Reeves, Sarah Mouton, Jerome Robertson, people that were either here already or they came from abroad. And some of these folks, they just trusted us. They trusted you, first of all, and then they trusted us for them to leave a place that they called home to call us now home. Thank you for all of the work that you did with Love Our Schools, because without Todd Mouton coming to Alice Boucher, then none of this is humanly possible. Todd comes with Nick, and then comes Ryan DiMaggio, and then Kip Schumacher, and then Matt Steller, and then Eric, and then Carly, and all of these people are gravitating and coming because you're here. Don't take them with you, please. We need them. Thank you for answering my calls in the afternoon, in the evening, at night, after midnight, all the time, anytime. You're just always available. So Ms. Trosclair actually changed. She changed my plans, because I think maybe you know. So I was set to run for city council. I wasn't running for another term on the board, for school board. And Ms. Trosclair said, hey, listen, we're right there, and I need you. I need you. You asked me to come. I'm still here. You got to stay as well. So I stayed. So she's going to buy me a steak tonight, because she's leaving, and I'm still here. Thank you for every discussion. Tiff. Disagreement. Stay with me on this path, everybody. Argument. Heated argument. Really heated big arguments. Raised voices. And curse words. You won't comment? Okay. So you got to understand, her and I are fighting for the exact same thing, and we both want to get directly to it. But because of her and that gentleman over there that I love, Encyclopedia Britannica himself, Bob Hammonds, y'all keep me safe. Because I just don't care. I just want to get it done, because there's a right way and there's a right thing to do. And y'all keep us safe. I called Bob today to see if I could wear this shirt. So you've always said that it's only about the kids, and at the heart of every decision, it's only about the kids. So you're a blessing to the kids. So with that said, in summation and with love, I really appreciate you allowing that freckle-faced, redhead kid who was skinnier at the time to come to South Crowley, ask you to come help us. And as casual as the wind blows east to west, You said, well, you know, my work is pretty much done here. I'll come. And I'm just casually joking. I run back to Dr. Aguilar. Doc, guess what? The Blue Ribbon Terrell Bell Award recipient, she said she'll come, and Doc made it happen. Best of luck to you, but you don't need any luck because it's in the data. And the one thing that you've always said is that, man, I'm much better at being a principal than doing this job. You've always said that, always. Like, you know, you can make a direct effect. If you could have just ran Boucher by itself, Boucher'd be an A. J.W. Falk be an A. But you have to split your time, and we're still having proof from an F to a D to a C, from a F to a D to a C, soon to be a B. So I won't say goodbye. I'm going to just say see you soon. And I'm going to see you sooner than what anyone will humanly imagine in this room. Thank you for trusting me, and thank you for allowing me to ask you, listen, I only want the best. And what you did was you gave us your best, and you are actually giving us your best, and you're leaving us with your best, and we love you. So let's go eat.
Thank you, Dr. Chasson. Now, this meeting is adjourned.